effect essays. When we talk about a cause essay, we're talking about what makes something happen. A synonym is reason. When we talk about an effect essay, we're talking about what happens as a result. And when you write this kind of essay, you're only going to write about the causes or only about the effects. You're not going to write about both in one essay. Just like with any essay, before you start writing, you need to prepare. We're going to think about our topic, and we're going to think about all of the causes and all of the effects of our topic. When we're thinking about the effects, we're asking ourselves, what happens when? Let's take the topic of eating too much. Eating too much, we could call this the cause. And then what are the effects of that? Well, when you eat too much, you get full. Also, when you eat too much, maybe you get a stomach ache. Over time, you even get fat from eating too much. So those are effects of eating too much. When we write a cause essay, we think about why something happens. Let's take the topic of getting sick. This could be called the effect, and then what are the causes of getting sick? Well, maybe I was around somebody else who was sick, and maybe I have a bad diet. I don't eat healthily, so I got sick. Or maybe I don't exercise well enough, or I don't get enough sleep. Those could be the causes of getting sick. Just like with any essay, we need to have a good, strong thesis statement. For a thesis statement in a cause and effect essay, we need to indicate what we are writing about, as well as whether we're going to write about causes or effects. So in a thesis statement, your topic would be whatever it is you're writing about, maybe getting sick or eating too much. And then the controlling idea would be that we're going to talk about causes or that we're going to talk about effects. Like we've talked about before, your thesis statement can also indicate what the body paragraphs will be about, but you don't have to do that. This is a kind of outline for a cause essay. In your introduction, you mention the topic. That's in your thesis statement. You'll say what it is you're writing about. And then each body paragraph would be one of the causes. So you need to have a cause that's not so specific that you can't think of anything to write about it. In each of your body paragraphs, you have to give the details about that cause. And you develop these body paragraphs the same way you have developed body paragraphs in the past. So each cause, you would have a topic sentence, supporting ideas, and details. And you do that for the next cause and the next cause. You could have more than 3 body paragraphs, but you need at least 3. And then your conclusion will be a summary or restatement of the main points. Here's another topic for a cause essay. This is about people studying a second or third language. If you want to think about the causes, ask yourself, why do people do this? Maybe they want to get a better job. Maybe they want to interact internationally. Maybe they just want to do something for themselves, to improve themselves. So the answers to the question why gives you your causes. This is what the effect essay looks like in an outline form. You introduce the topic in the first paragraph, and then each body paragraph will be one effect. Here's a sample topic for an effect essay. This is about the stock market crashing. Ask yourself, what happens when the stock market crashes? And the answers that we get will be the effects. So what happens after a stock market crash? People get scared and they take their money out of the stock market. The government is also scared, so it makes regulations to prevent another crash. And companies also are scared, so they shrink. That means they get smaller, and they lay off employees. So these answers to the question, what happens when, are the effects of something. Planning is really important for any essay. If you plan well, you're more likely to have a good essay. So for this assignment, you should do some pre-writing to figure out whether you're going to be writing causes or effects in your essay. Remember to put only one cause or only one effect in each body paragraph. And then make an outline so that you know if you've got enough to write about. Remember the T-chart that we used for comparison essays. You can use that also for a cause and effect essay. Put your topic at the top, put causes on one side and effects on the other, list them here. When you're planning, you don't have to know if you're doing causes or effects. You may not know. So use a T-chart and just list all of the causes you can think of and all of the effects that you can think of, and then you'll see which list you like better. If you have more causes, or maybe the causes are better, then you might want to write a cause essay. If you see that you have more effects, then you would write about the effects. And then put your information into an outline. You would have each cause for cause for each of these numbers, and then these would be your details about that cause or the effect. Here I'd like to discuss with you a sample cause and effect essay. This essay is about climate change,
And the writer is discussing the effects of climate change. The writer starts with a short introduction and then has a thesis statement at the end of the introduction. These changes have serious effects for people and animals living today and in the near future. The writer tells us that this is going to be about effects, so that's a good thesis statement. In the first body paragraph, the writer uses a transition, first of all, and starts with a topic sentence. The topic sentence gives us that first effect that the writer wants to explain. Rising sea levels will flood many cities with the ocean's waters. Then the writer also has several supporting ideas. The first one is right here. This will make some islands be completely covered, so people will have to move to higher ground. Then the writer gives a detail about that. Here's the second supporting idea. The cost of relocating will be billions of dollars, which individuals and governments will have to pay. And the writer gives several details about that. And then here's the third support. Furthermore, much of the scenic land and historic buildings in these locations will be destroyed and will not be replaceable. The writer just has one detail about that, and then a transition sentence at the end. Can you think of any specific details that would have helped develop this body paragraph? Maybe a specific example? The writer could have mentioned a place where this has happened, right? That would have been a good specific example. Let's look at the next body paragraph. The writer used another transition, and that's good. He said, another effect of climate change. He repeated those key words from the thesis statement, climate change. And this second effect is the melting ice caps and snow cover in cold climates. First, the writer tells us about the Arctic creatures. That means the animals in the Arctic. And then gives an example. That's a nice example right there. And uses that transition, for example. We see the next supporting idea with the transition also, and the writer kind of combines this supporting idea with the examples of the wolves and deer and fish. The writer gives a few more details about this and tells us what that effect will be. So that body paragraph really only had two supports. The second support had several details, so that was good, but it would have been better if the writer thought of a third supporting idea. Let's look at the last body paragraph. The writer used the transition finally, so that's really good. And then the writer used a topic sentence to tell us the third effect. Climate change is making more storms and making the storms worse. The writer uses a transition for the first support, that's good. And then the first supporting idea is about tornadoes. You might not have tornadoes where you live. They're common in the United States. Tornadoes are those big twisting wind storms, and they're very violent. That's the first type of storm that the writer mentions. Here we have another transition, and the writer talks about hurricanes and gives an example of a famous hurricane that hit the United States a couple years ago. The writer put another supporting idea here. He used the same transition. You'll want to try to use different transitions in your body paragraphs. It's okay to use also in each body paragraph, but you don't want to use it for two supporting ideas in the same paragraph. Try to think of a different transition. The writer could have said, in addition. And this third supporting idea is about the winter storms, and the writer gives an example about that. And then here's the fourth supporting idea. This one is about the drought. Drought means the lack of rain. So this body paragraph is pretty well developed. It had 4 supporting ideas, and the writer gives specific examples for several of them. That's what you want to do in all of your body paragraphs. For the conclusion, the writer kept it short. That's all you need to do, just a few sentences. The writer used a little bit of summary and a final thought. So that's a pretty good cause and effect essay for you to model your essay after. Remember that your thesis statement should mention whether it's going to be causes or effects that you're writing about, and then you should have 3 body paragraphs, giving your 3 causes or your 3 effects. Don't try to write about both in this essay. And remember to use specific details and examples in your body paragraphs.